Have you ever felt completely drained after spending time at a party, even when you were just sitting quietly in the corner? Do you find yourself making up excuses to avoid social events, even ones that sound fun? If you're nodding your head right now, chances are you're an INFJ, and today we're going to talk about something that affects many of us but rarely gets discussed openly. We're diving deep into why INFJs often avoid social gatherings, and I promise you, it's not just because we're antisocial or too sensitive. There's so much more to this story, and today we're going to unpack every single layer of it. The energy vampire effect. Let's start with something that every INFJ knows all too well: the way social gatherings seem to suck the life right out of us. Imagine you're at a party, and while everyone else is chatting and laughing, you're like a human antenna picking up every single signal in the room. You're not just hearing conversations. You're feeling the weight of every emotion, noticing every subtle facial expression, and picking up on all the unspoken tensions floating around. It's like being in a room where 100 different radio stations are playing at once, and you can't turn down the volume. While others are simply enjoying the music of one station, you're trying to process all of them simultaneously. You notice how Sarah's smile doesn't quite reach her eyes when she talks about her new job, or how Mike keeps checking his phone nervously every few minutes. You pick up on the slight strain in Jessica's voice when she talks to her boyfriend, even though nobody else seems to notice. This constant stream of emotional and sensory information isn't something we can just switch off. It's hardwired into our INFJ personality type. We're natural empaths, which means we don't just observe emotions, we absorb them. Being at a social gathering isn't just about being present, it's about involuntarily taking on the emotional state of everyone around us. The authenticity dilemma. Now, let's talk about something that really gets under an INFJ's skin: the superficial nature of most social interactions. For us, talking about the weather or sharing generic office gossip feels like wearing a mask that's 2 sizes too small. It's uncomfortable, it's restrictive, and it makes it hard to breathe. We crave deep, meaningful conversations like desert plants crave water. We want to know what keeps you up at night, what makes your soul sing, what dreams you've been too afraid to chase. We want to discuss life's big questions, explore philosophical ideas, and share genuine, heartfelt moments of connection. But try bringing up the meaning of life at a casual birthday party, and you'll probably get some strange looks. This creates a painful disconnect for INFJs. We find ourselves in social situations where the expected level of interaction feels painfully shallow. It's like being a deep-sea creature forced to swim in a kiddie pool. There's nothing wrong with the kiddie pool, it's just not our natural habitat. The overthinking orchestra. If you could peek inside an INFJ's mind before a social event, you'd find it looks like mission control during a space launch. There are a million thoughts racing around, all demanding attention at once. We're not just thinking about what to wear or when to arrive. We're playing out every possible scenario, conversation, and interaction before they even happen. Will there be enough quiet corners where we can retreat if we get overwhelmed? Should we drive separately so we have an escape route? What if someone asks about that sensitive topic we're not ready to discuss? What if we get stuck in a conversation we can't politely exit? The mental preparation for a social event often takes more energy than the event itself. And here's the kicker: it doesn't end when the event does. INFJs have a tendency to replay social interactions in their minds like they're reviewing game footage. We analyze every word, every reaction, every tiny moment where we think we might have said the wrong thing or come across in a way we didn't intend. This post-event processing can go on for days, taking up valuable mental and emotional energy. The introvert's paradox. Here's something that often confuses people about INFJs. We genuinely love people. We're fascinated by human nature, deeply invested in others' well-being, and capable of forming incredibly strong connections. But our love for humanity often works better from a slight distance, like appreciating a beautiful painting. Get too close, and the details can become overwhelming. This creates what we might call the introvert's paradox. We care deeply about people and relationships, but the very intensity of our caring makes it difficult to handle large groups or extended social interactions. It's like having a superpower that you can't fully control. Yes, our ability to understand and connect with others is amazing, but it comes with a cost. We find ourselves drawn to people while simultaneously needing to retreat from them. We want to help, to understand, to connect, but we also need to protect our own emotional well-being. This constant push and pull can be exhausting, and it's one of the main reasons why many INFJs prefer one-on-one interactions or small group settings where we can better manage our energy and attention. The empath's burden. Being an INFJ means experiencing the world in high definition when everyone else seems to be watching standard definition. Every emotion, every undercurrent, every unspoken word comes through crystal clear. While this makes us excellent friends and confidants in one-on-one situations, it can turn social gatherings into emotional obstacle courses. Think about the last party you attended. While others were focused on the music, food, and casual conversation, you were probably picking up on the host's hidden stress, the tension between certain guests, the person in the corner feeling left out, and the couple trying to hide their recent argument. It's like being able to hear dog whistles. Just because others can't detect these emotional frequencies doesn't make them any less real or impactful for us. This heightened emotional awareness isn't something we can simply dial down. It's as much a part of us as our eye color or fingerprints. And while it can be a beautiful gift in the right circumstances, it makes large social gatherings feel like emotional marathons we haven't trained for. The social battery myth. Let's address something that well-meaning friends and family often tell us. Just stay a little longer, you'll get into it. Or, you just need to warm up to people. While these suggestions come from a good place, they fundamentally misunderstand how an INFJ's social energy works. Our social battery doesn't operate like a phone that can be charged while in use. Once it's depleted, we need complete withdrawal to recharge. Staying longer at a social event when we're already drained is like trying to run a car on empty. You might make it a little further, but you're risking damage in the process. This isn't about being antisocial or not trying hard enough. It's about respecting our natural limits and understanding that pushing beyond them doesn't lead to greater social comfort. It leads to emotional and mental exhaustion that might take days to recover from. The misunderstood motivation. One of the most frustrating aspects of being an INFJ is having our social preferences misinterpreted by others. People often assume we're stuck up, antisocial, or just plain rude when we decline invitations or leave events early. Nothing could be further from the truth. Our need for limited social interaction isn't a judgment on others, it's a recognition of our own needs and limits. It's like having a food allergy. We're not avoiding certain foods because we're picky or difficult, but because we know how our system reacts to them. This misunderstanding often leads to guilt, as many INFJs feel bad about needing alone time or preferring deeper one-on-one connections to group activities. We might force ourselves to attend events we know will drain us, just to prove we're not antisocial, which only perpetuates the cycle of exhaustion and recovery. The recovery ritual. After social gatherings, INFJs need recovery time like humans need sleep. This isn't just about being tired. It's about processing and integrating all the emotional and sensory information we've absorbed during the social interaction. This recovery period might look different for each INFJ, but it often involves activities like spending time alone in a quiet space, engaging in creative activities like writing or art, taking long walks in nature, meditating or practicing mindfulness, journaling about our experiences and feelings, reading or watching familiar, comforting content, simply sitting in silence, allowing our minds to process. This isn't laziness or antisocial behavior, it's essential maintenance for our mental and emotional well-being. Just as an athlete needs recovery time after intense physical activity, INFJs need recovery time after intense social interaction. The hidden cost of social obligations. Every social invitation an INFJ receives comes with a complex mental calculation. We're not just considering whether we're free that day or if we'd enjoy the activity. We're weighing the emotional cost against our current energy levels, upcoming commitments, and recovery needs. This isn't about being selfish or antisocial. It's about being realistic about our capacity for social interaction. We know that if we push ourselves too hard socially, we won't have the emotional energy to be there for the people who really need us, or to pursue the meaningful projects and relationships that matter most to us. It's like managing a limited energy budget. We have to make careful choices about where we spend our social energy, knowing that every expenditure requires time to replenish. Sometimes, this means making the difficult choice to decline invitations, even to events we might enjoy, because we know the cost would be too high. The path to peace. Finding peace as an INFJ in a world that often seems designed for extroverts isn't about changing who we are, it's about understanding and honoring our needs while finding creative ways to maintain meaningful connections with others. This might mean setting clear boundaries about our social limits, creating structured social situations that work for us, being honest with friends and family about our needs, finding alternative ways to stay connected that don't drain us, developing strategies to manage our energy in social situations, learning to say no without guilt, creating spaces and relationships where we can be our authentic selves. The key is understanding that our way of experiencing and interacting with the world isn't wrong, it's just different. And different isn't bad, it's just different. Conclusion. Being an INFJ in today's fast-paced, highly social world presents unique challenges. Our tendency to avoid social gatherings isn't a character flaw or a choice. It's a natural response to the way we process the world around us. Understanding this about ourselves isn't about making excuses, it's about acknowledging our reality so we can work with it rather than against it. Remember, your need for solitude and meaningful connection isn't a weakness. It's the source of many of your greatest strengths. Your ability to understand others deeply, to see beyond surface-level interactions, and to form profound connections are gifts that the world desperately needs. Yes, these gifts come with certain limitations and requirements for self-care, but that's okay. As you move forward, be gentle with yourself. Honor your needs for quiet, for depth, for meaningful connection. Find ways to participate in social life that work for you, rather than trying to force yourself into a mold that wasn't designed for your shape. And remember, you're not alone in this experience. There are others out there who understand exactly what you're going through. The world needs INFJs just as we are, deep thinkers, empaths, old souls in a young world. Our way of being might not always fit neatly into social expectations, but it brings a depth and understanding to human connections that is invaluable. So the next time you feel the need to skip a social gathering in favor of solitude, remember, you're not broken, you're not wrong, you're just being true to who you are. And that's not just okay, it's exactly as it should be.